Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the independent senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders.
Thank you.
Everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn.
I want to make sure I get that on the microphone. Hold on a second. How you doing, folks? Sisters and brothers, we made it. We're here. Congratulations. I hope the parking worked out. I don't validate personally, but I think there's somebody here in the room. Are we good? Are you handling it? Is this what you expected, or did they advertise it incorrectly? Let me tell you this. Let me tell you something. To start off, I am a firm believer in a need to find alternative forms of energy besides fossil fuel, and one very important form of alternative energy will be audience energy. So please give me all you can tonight, because that is good. Very good. Very good. Very good. Good enough. I'm dripping documents. I sweat documents in my sleep. And when I snore, I go into my stump speech. So forgive me if you've heard some of this before. Sisters and brothers, it is good to be here in the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. There it goes again. I was inspired by President John F. Kennedy when I was a middle-aged man. That one day this country would again be able to come together and look to the leadership of a person whose accent was so crazy for its time, it was almost impossible to understand. And so here we are. I have had some fond memories here at the Kennedy Center with my wife, Jane. We saw the Smothers Brothers play here. Fantastic time. We saw Mark Russell here twice with some of his delightful piano music, and yes, he went after Eleanor Clift. And we also saw Eleanor Clift here on her own right when they did the McLaughlin Group live tour. It started here at the Kennedy Center. She did a fantastic tap dance number with Pat Buchanan, and that was the only thing he's ever stood for that I supported. I believe the song was Stardust. That was fantastic. We are building a Sanders Center in Vermont, in Rutland City. There is going to be a Sanders Center where we will have live readings of statistics. And we will give out Sanders honors for educational excellence in the use of percentages. On that note, let me say this. And when I say that, what I mean is, I'm going to say something. Let me say this. The top 1% of the top 10% of the top 1% of the top 1% of 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 10% of 4% of 5%, 3% of 6% of 9%, 2% of 1%, 3% of 6%, 2% of 8%. That was Tchaikovsky. And that percentage controls more wealth than all of the fractions combined. And I don't think that's fair. I will also say this: 2/3 of 4/5 is slightly greater than 1/3 of 2/4. That's just pure fractions right there. Pardon me, I just want to crooked my tie here for a moment. It's a small room for me, so I'm going to get informal for you. I appreciate you joining me here for a town hall. I cannot overemphasize how comfortable I am in a town hall format. It is almost the only way I know how to do anything. Although I'm trying to branch out. We're working on starting some roundtable sessions. I'm open to do a symposium now and then, and yes, I am available for a forum if the money gets right. We are remodeling our luxurious Vermont lake house home that you've heard so much about on the internet. 2 rooms. We are remodeling it to resemble a very small town hall where we are gonna invite neighbors over, where we'll give them sandwiches and then they can pepper me with very difficult questions. The sandwiches will use Impossible burger meat, and but the questions should be a little bit easier. So here we are in Washington. By the way, we're gonna get to a few things. There will be some time for questions, and I do not promise that I will even attempt to get to all of your questions, but I will nominally make you feel good about not doing it. We're gonna do a little bit more bullshit, and then we're gonna do some bullshit over there, and then we're gonna come back. There's gonna be a series of resets and more bullshit. I hope you're ready for it. It is bad to be back here in DC. I feel lonely. I don't fit in. I get to Vermont as often as I can. When I have to, I commute down on the Acela train, the Northeast Corridor. I am often on the same train as Chris Matthews. We don't get along. And Amtrak always puts us in the loud car together. They have a loud car. It's just me and Chris Matthews trying to outdo each other on volume. Hey, Chris, if you're listening, put me on TV. I'm out here. You know who I am. What else do I do? Ruth Bader Ginsburg, we play racquetball sometimes. I will say this, I often win, but perhaps the majority of the time I win our racquetball matches. However, even when that happens, Ruth Bader Ginsburg issues a very strenuous objection in her dissenting opinion. The outcome of the game. And of course, I'm able to reach across the aisle. I don't have a lot of friends here in town. So yes, occasionally, now and then, I reach across the aisle. James Inhofe. Personally, we are friends, and we do sit down to play chess now and then. But it lasts about 10 minutes before we start arguing about the framework of what we are doing and the game itself. And the whole thing dissolves because we can't form a quorum anymore. I firmly believe, philosophically, I believe that no chess pieces should have any more influence than any other chess pieces. I believe in this country we are far past due for a time when a pawn can achieve as much in its lifetime as the king or the bishop or the queen. And I believe that not only knights should be able to hop over anything, if you're facing an obstacle, you should hop over it. I look forward to an egalitarian chess that is non-violent and choreographed in a way, so it just starts to look like dancing. It's good to be here in the summer. I'm glad we're air-conditioned. I'm sorry for what it's doing to the environment. Thank you for joining me. I like being somewhere in the summer. It makes me remember A Midsummer Night's Dream. Here we are. I've always felt that my involvement in the Democratic Party is a little bit like that Shakespeare play. You got Oberon, the king of the fairies. He's got far too much power. And of course, I show up as bottom, and I have the donkey head on when I need it to be a Democrat. And then after a while, I really try to take it off, but it's hard to get it off. What else? What else? I'm feeling loose. What are we going to talk about? I heard that Hillary Clinton is performing at a musical festival in New York called Ozzy Fest. They got a poster and everything. It says Hillary Clinton and then Carmen and then everybody else like it's Coachella or something. Ozzy Fest at Central Park. I don't know if Ozzy Osbourne is involved or not. But I'm hoping that Hillary plays Crazy Train and then maybe goes into Paranoid, and who knows, maybe we can have an encore of War Pigs. That's a Black Sabbath joke for you there. Black Sabbath joke for you there. A little bit out of context, but what do you know? I'm not one to be outdone, by Hillary Clinton. In fact, I'm one to comically try to outdo her. So she's performing at a music festival. I am also, I'm happy to announce here, I will be going to Burning Man later this summer. Yes, there is a pun there, calm down. Not only was the pun intended, it was intensely vetted by my Senate staff. I plan to go to Burning Man. We're not going to get too wild. There will be no nudity, or if there is, it'll be kept to a tasteful minimum. And any genital piercings that either Jane or myself may or may not have will be, you know, that's our business. At the end of the Burning Man conference, what I'm going to do is we're going to have a 400-foot wooden Bernie Sanders in the middle of the playa. I'm going to walk out, and we're going to light it on fire and watch it burn to the ground like my chances during my campaign 2 years ago. Look, I'm rough. I'm not perfect. I'm gonna jab at somebody else. We're gonna take some shots at me too. I hope you're ready for that. I don't know what that was. It sounded urgent. If it is an urgent heckle, I urge you to call my Senate staff. You can call the Capitol and you can tell them it wasn't funny or whatever, and they will forward it to my office. If you are a Vermonter, feel free to call a local office in Burlington or Brattleboro or whatever you want. Well, we can look back, we can look forward. The election coming up in 2020 is also hindsight, so we have the luxury of looking into the future and also the past at the same time. I am comfortable performing at Burning Man, a lot of other places. I have been endorsed by a number of bands, both as a senator and a presidential candidate. I was endorsed by the band Fish, also from Vermont. They endorsed me with a 75-minute endorsement riff. It was mostly a key-changing guitar solo. I was very proud of that moment. I have also been endorsed by 3/4 of the musical group Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, which coincidentally is 2/3 of Crosby, Stills, and Nash. I've always thought of myself as the Neil Young of the Democratic Party. In many ways, I come in when they want me to make a big album together, and then when they want me to stick around, I wander off and do my own solo stuff. And I was very, very unpopular with Southern men, and so I think it sticks. The analogy sticks, if you don't mind me saying so. And also, I would like to see you again under this harvest moon. I hope you like it. Sometimes it's gruff, sometimes it's gruff. It sounds like Gruffy Gummy from the Gummy Bears, the classic 1988 Disney afternoon cartoon, and then sometimes it goes up here. That's what I do. A little fun fact, behind the curtain, if you're wondering how I do this, when I warm up my voice, I gargle milk duds. That's how you get the voice. I mentioned the Disney afternoon. I'm proud of my record in animation. I marched with the Care Bears, and I am proud of that. We marched, and we got Professor Coldheart to admit that he was wrong to be bullying children, and he cried and promised that he would not eat too much candy in the future. I think that's my opening remarks. We're gonna get to some other stuff. I know I'm dancing around a lot of serious issues, and I hope that you're comfortable with that, because that's what we're doing here today, day and tonight. Are you ready for that? The sun is setting, but here it's in eternal darkness. We have some guests. Did I get a laugh from? I want to thank everybody again, and for the Kennedy Center, all the staff you have back there, our translator right there. Am I getting it correctly, sir? Are we doing it right? We're doing it right. He says yes. Okay, good. That was yes. That's right on. We are going to have a few guests, and we're going to take some questions from the audience. I think maybe I should do that now. Take a couple of questions from the audience. Make sure you feel like you're members of what we're doing here, constituents of this event, if you will. Thank you. That was an elegant way to bring up the lights slightly without overwhelming it. I'm going to keep, this is not going to stop. I am going to keep dropping. You're lucky if I don't drop my pen. If we could ask some questions. Yes, Juliet, I believe it is. Please, Juliet, soft wood light in yonder window. There you are. Juliet is gonna, if you have a question, she's gonna get to you with a microphone. We've got time for 2 or 3. Honestly, I have time for 10 or 12, but I'm not gonna do that. I think I see a question right there. Somebody with their hand up. That's the universal sign for I got a question, or I'm trying to outshine my opponent in this debate. That's also what that means.
Tell us about the healthcare in Denmark.
The healthcare in Denmark. Thank you. Denmark is a wonderful country that has fantastic healthcare and also Legos. And I think we can look to Denmark for a healthcare system that fits together and snaps together in certain ways, that is clean and efficient, and it is made from an organic plant-based plastic. And I am in favor of a healthcare, you get it out of the box, you can follow the directions with your medical Lego provider, or you could come up with your own ideas with some holistic, whatever you want to do, echinacea. And so yes, I think that's enough about the health. Look, Denmark has fantastic healthcare. I've been there to Denmark, and everybody I met was alive. Another question was right here, I think, right there. Yes. Yes, let's go there. And I apologize if I didn't get to. Yes.
What do you think of the trade route between China and the United States?
The trade between China and the United States? Well, look, I think it's been around for a while. I think the funny thing about oceans and transportation and human needs is that they are going to find each other. We have been trading with China for a long, long time, since my early childhood. Sometime in the Ming Dynasty. And look, I think we have disagreements. We have valid disagreements with the Chinese people. I think a culture should come together. I think that Donald Trump is wrong to be screaming about China every time he sets himself on fire. China is a country with people, and we are brothers and sisters. Even if we've never met each other, we should try to get along, and we should make at least some modicum of an effort not to have a nuclear war over nothing, tariffs, which Donald Trump seems to be trying to do. I have great respect for China and Chinese history. I remember fondly in a bookstore in Brattleboro, Vermont, I used to take a look at Mao's Little Red Book. It was a little bit too far left for me. It was PG Bookhouse was the name of the bookstore. They had a copy of Mao Zedong's Little Red Book, and they had a version of it with big print for people who need large print like I do. And Chairman Mao, he said two steps forward, one step back. I think that's a little bit too radical for even me. I prefer to take one step forward and then one step back and then drop out of the election without contesting any of the results. I hope that answered your question in some semblance in another universe or something. Thank you for the question. So one more before we go to get our first guest out. Yes, right here in the very front. Yes, sir. And I want to thank all the people sitting in the furniture in the first two rows. That is my personal furniture from my home in Vermont. We're selling it. After the show, we're selling it. We're taking offers of anything you got, bus tokens, bitcoins, anything. Yes, sir, right there.
So how do you feel about Donald Trump being president currently?
Well, Donald Trump, how could I say this? Donald Trump reminds me of Chucky from Child's Play. He's a red-headed little bastard. And we thought he was cute and everything, and then he's climbing up America's leg trying to stab everybody. And I think there are plenty of non-violent ways to turn that terrible movie off, and I think that we should look to those. Also, there's another way of looking at it. Donald Trump is a gremlin. He was very cute at first, and then the mainstream media gave him too much attention, 2 whole seasons, and they fed him after midnight. And yes, it is always midnight somewhere, specifically in this case in Moscow. Almost literally, I'm almost right on there. Donald Trump, yeah, he is a sack of nuclear waste. Donald Trump is, he's a real, I only swear when I stub one of my ingrown toenails. But Donald Trump is a real doo-doo head. I disagree with 99% of the positions he takes. The only thing that I do agree with him on is about, a number of, I think that when you have hair that doesn't work, I think it should look silly in public. Thank you for that question. I treasure that question, and we will have time for more, but there's a guest that I want to bring him out, and I'm getting tired of standing, so I'm going to sit while I have my guest come out. If you don't mind, Please welcome, he's a performer. We've not met in person before, but I honor his work, and he is performing at this festival later tonight for his own program. Please welcome my guest, Neil Hamburger. Neil Hamburger. Here you are. You're a performer. Pardon me.
I am.
I've had a slight cold ever since G. Gordon Liddy was pardoned in 1978.
I've had one since I stayed at the Days Inn.
What are the Days Inn? What happened?
Well, you know, you do a lot of traveling
I
around.
do a lot of travel. I wanted to ask you about that. You're on the road all the time for different reasons. I'm trying to save the country, and you're trying to, make people laugh.
Trying to earn a living and pursue my dream, which I guess is kind of what you're doing as well, pursuing a dream.
Yeah, we're a lot alike. Obviously, physically, superficially, there's incredible differences between us. But I think,
Yes.
at
Yes,
our
there
hearts,
are.
at our core, I think there's. Oh, you Yo.
A town hall doesn't mean a free-for-all, young lady. You need to listen to what the man is saying, and
Well, this is an issue I disagree with you on slightly, and I will say that I'm not afraid to disagree. I think that hecklers, sometimes they need mental health care, and I am in favor of having teams going throughout the country in all venues and tending to the hecklers, making sure the whole life is productive.
Now, I would vote for that, honestly, because I've dealt with a lot of these creeps, a lot of these nattering nabobs of negativity that
Very
come out
good,
to the
yes.
show and stink it up with
That's
their asinine comments.
Spiro Agnew reference.
Yes, it is, and
Yes,
he was
very good.
one of the greats, in a sense. In a sense.
All right, I'm taking the temperature here, and not only do you have a fever, I think maybe you have some right-wing views, which is fine.
I didn't, no, I like all of them. I like everybody. They're all great. All the elected representatives are fantastic. And they're all, on all parties, they're all doing a great job. And we should support all of them, every one.
That's almost impossible. You're saying we should embrace the totality of all existence. It seems, like, what are you, Alan Watts?
Well, I mean, these people are doing their job, and you have to salute that. I wish the audience would salute me when I'm doing my job upstairs in the family theater in just a few moments after your show is over. It's not really a show, is it?
Well, I call it a symposium, a town hall.
Symposium.
You could say it's theater in the round, but I am playing myself.
So if this is a symposium, will I be getting an honorarium?
Well, yeah, there's a small honorarium. Are you a member of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers?
No, I'm afraid I'm not.
I will be paying you out of pocket, so forgive me if there's a little bit of lint and aspirin dust when I pay you out of
I
pocket.
got plenty of that already. I was hoping for some coins.
I can pay you a coin. Sure, I can pay you. Do you want to pay like some commemorative coins?
I would take those, or even, commemorating George Washington. The 25-cent piece is also a nice coin as well.
I've never heard of it referred to as a 25-cent piece. Well, the only coins I collect are Ethan Allen coins, and they're the ones that are just made of pure copper, so they're almost worthless.
That's the first. Oh, yes, those are nice.
He's one of
They're
the
trying
only
to
heroes
discontinue.
Vermont has. Have you been to Vermont on your many travels as a performer?
I have done several shows in your state. In Burlington and Brattleboro.
Burlington and Brattleboro.
And a few other towns as well.
Those are the two that, those are the only ones that anybody really remembers. Vermont was kind of an accidental state.
That's where Ben and Jerry are from, though.
Yeah, they're
We've
from
all,
Brattle.
we've all gotten diabetes from their products, haven't we? So you need to do something about that. Why aren't you in the Senate right now? What is this?
Well, what do you have to be there all the time?
Well, I mean, that's what the folks are paying you for.
No, but they're not paying me very much. I'm donating most of the income to Greyhound bus patrons who can't I have just a number of charities giving away all the money.
Well, I'm a Greyhound bus patron, so that's nice that the money will
I'll add that to
trickle
the
down me.
honorarium. I'll add that to the
Okay.
honorarium.
Well, a ticket would be fine to my next show.
Well, look, we're in session in Congress, but right now we're gridlocked. John McCain is down there screaming at everybody, and he's having Elizabeth Warren.
In his home?
Oh yeah, he's at home screaming at everybody. and
Okay.
They're trying to put him up on the look. It's a big clusterfuck down there. Elizabeth Warren, she's drunk. She's swinging from the chandeliers. I said I can't
Again?
handle this. I gotta come do something that makes sense.
What you senators need to do is work on a bill. I'd like to introduce this. I know this isn't officially the Senate, but you need a bill.
I will cede you the floor.
You need a bill so that I stop getting foot fungus from some of these motel chains. And they need to have a minimum standard to sterilize these bathtubs before people pay their money, because it might be $49 for the room, but you're going to spend a couple $100 trying to scrape this rotting foot skin off of your heel, and then to get some of these foot medications aren't cheap either. Dr. Scholl is not a good doctor in terms of caring about anyone with the prices he charges for some of his creams.
Well, I would say that I would say this. I would say, first of all, that I think you need adequate fungal health care. Like any other, I think you should be able to have a specialist. That if Dr. Scholl's is too corporate for what your needs are, I think there's a number of other doctors. The number of other doctors that can tell. Now, personally, I have suffered from some of the same problems. You know, I am a middle-aged man, and I'm starting to have some problems, and so of course you notice that I have the orthopedic shoes. I gave up long ago trying to cure athletes' foot with topical medication. What I do now is my shoes are full of liquid tea tree oil everywhere I go.
Oh, okay. I'll try that.
They are sealed tight, but they are full of just a swimming pool of liquid tea tree oil. There's so much fungus down there, there's no way it can have any effect, but it just keeps it so it doesn't grow out like a monster.
I noticed that the minute I walked on the stage, the scent of the camphor, but also the tea tree oil.
Camphor, tea tree oil. I've also got Vicks Vapor Rub, but it's a generic version from Canada that I have imported.
Well, the CVS one is good too. And that's very inexpensive. You can get that for about $1.99, and it's still in the nice little blue containers. When you empty those out, you can put honey in that when you're traveling and add it to your tea, rather than carrying the full honey pot, on the road.
Are you in danger? That's disgusting. Well, are you in danger of being pulled over by the TSA for having too much?
Yeah,
honey?
That's another issue. Yeah, I got pulled over by the TSA because I had some of my Neil Hamburger souvenir refrigerator magnets that we were selling on the road. But you get a stack of 20 or 30 magnets, and it sets off the alarm that you're some sort of terrorist. Well, that's not what America's about. I should be allowed to sell refrigerator magnets without having an invasive body search.
Well, I empathize with some of what you're saying.
Some?
Well, yes, I know that I disagree. I don't disagree with some minor points. I would say that I have had experience with magnets. I tried some alternative therapies.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, when I was younger in Brooklyn, I tried some alternative therapies for this and that illness.
Do they work for bed bugs?
Unfortunately, what it does is that it magnetizes them. And so the bed bugs, instead of being into the bed, under the covers, would suddenly be swept up next to the windows or the heating grate. And then you got just a sort of a wallpaper of bed bugs. Not unlike the lights in this room, just sort of magnetized and pulled up. It was a fun little piece of science fiction, but it was rough to bring a date home.
But then you can take a hammer and just smash them all, and then you get a good night's sleep.
Yeah, but right before you crawl up in your Murphy bed and it springs up into the wall. I have a feeling you're like me. You have a Roger Rabbit-style existence that way.
Yes, that's a fair way of putting it. An elegant way of putting it.
Yeah, you're a humble man for your personal needs the way I am.
I'd like to think so.
Yeah. Do you, what is your, look, when you go on the road and you're in a room, what is the ideal setup? A bed, or is that too much?
Well, the ideal setup is that the place doesn't have this grime on the floor so that your bare feet end up black when you're leaving the room. The ideal setup is that they have free soap and shampoo and conditioner, and that there's not rust in the tap water. You turn the water on and it comes out, and you got to leave it running for 5 minutes before it's clear, you know. And that's very demoralizing when you've got a show to do that night.
Are you are you staying at some bed and breakfasts that are rotten?
Well, it's the Super 8 bed and breakfast. It's about 40 miles from here, just outside of Baltimore.
I would never trust a corporation hotel store. I only go with classic Beaux-Art inns.
So you stay in your friend's house then?
Like, I've never slept outside of my home without crashing on someone's couch.
Okay. Well, that's also bed bugs. A lot of the fans that I have, unfortunately, are very slovenly people. And usually because they're, male with no female in their lives to clean the place up.
That's the audience you attract.
Unfortunately, it really has been.
Well, unfortunately, I've had a few of those assholes myself. They get online, they make people feel uncomfortable. Here we are.
They do.
We're doing this instead of the thing in the White House. Look, you mentioned this, so men without a woman in their life. Do you have someone in your life now?
Well, I have. I've been divorced, so there is that.
So have I. You've been for the big D, huh?
Yeah, but I still keep the ring on, as sort of a keepsake.
Wow. I lost all my wedding rings by gesturing during speeches. Long ago. As soon as my wife Jane said yes, I was flinging rings off.
So you're not retaining fluids in your fingers like I have been over the last few years, and they fatten up like nice sausages,
sample. It's a nice sample you got there.
Well, I couldn't get this ring off if I wanted, honestly. You'd have to saw the finger off, I think, and then slip it off on the bottom.
Well, have you tried Three Stooges type soap or
banana cream pies?
Yeah, slapping yourself in the face or something.
I'm not going to do that. That was that baseball pitcher. You saw that guy the other day. That was all over the news. He lost the game and he punched himself in the face. Very, very funny, but also a little sad in a sense.
I punched myself in the face when I failed to stop the Iraq War. I've been there. I tried, and I didn't filibuster long enough, and so I said, Bernie, bam, right there.
Well, you better, there may be some more wars soon, so to avoid punching yourself, please do something about that, because we need to be able to work to tell our jokes and things, and it's very hard when the bombs are falling at the nightclubs and that sort of thing.
Let me ask you this, and this might be my final question before I open it up with the audience.
Are you ill?
Well, I don't mean my final question. I'm very healthy. I'm very healthy. I play racquetball. I do 120 sets of arm waves every day.
That's impressive.
I go up the Capitol steps and back down the Capitol steps every time I need to get a
Capitol
sandwich.
One steps? Because I used their ATM the other day, Capitol One, one of the sponsors here, and there were only 3 steps to get into
they sponsor the festival. They don't sponsor me. I don't accept sponsors. What's in your wallet? I'll tell you what's in my wallet. Cash, and not much of it.
Hey, I can relate.
So let me ask you, have you ever considered running for office? Well, I inspired a lot of young people like yourself to run for office. Alexandria, Ocasio-Cortez, most recently, running for office and doing fantastically in the Bronx. Have you thought about running yourself?
I'd like to run for the office of America's most beloved comic, and then you get to do shows all the time and get paid by the taxpayers and that sort of thing. So that's what I'll be running for, if you please can put the wheels into motion to create that office.
If I win and I'm able to establish a poet laureate type position for the National Comedian, which is a long shot within a long shot, then you're the guy that I'll go to third on the list.
Well, then you'll have my vote, but the other 2 guys are not so hot, so please reconsider.
Well, the names will be out there, so you can kill them.
I already know who they are, and I don't like them.
Okay. Do you mind taking a couple of questions from the crowd?
Yeah, I suppose I mind.
Yeah, you mind. Well, we're going to do it anyway?
All right.
Folks, if there's a question for Neil Hamburger or me...
don't all speak at once.
I don't know if I can see. I have a nearly fatal case of myopia, but I manage it as best I can. Well, yeah, we got one right up there with the sunglasses on his head, looking like he came in from California or Miami.
Actually from South Carolina, but I
You
was born
sound, you sound like you're from a party place.
I was born and raised here in D.C. In the South, they don't like you very much, but
You're very rude. You know that?
I'm
Are you
in
talking
college.
about me or him?
How much did you pay to get in here to talk with that toilet mouth
Absolutely
to our...
free, because
our,
I'm on a college student budget. We're both in college now, and Bernie, this is for really both of you. But what happened to free college, man? I mean, I'm in head deep in debt. I mean.
Okay, I think I get the gist of your question, Myrtle Beach. Thank you for piping up there.
Yeah.
Free college.
We got a freeloader here in the audience. He comes to the free show and asks for free college. Do you need free drinks too, sir?
Sounds like he's had a couple. Look, I believe in free college. I think I didn't get to articulate it on the road in the campaign, but I personally believe that psilocybin mushrooms should be given freely to American students in college. I think they should be not only legalized, but free. I think just the stem should be free. The head you should have to pay for, but psilocybin mushrooms are so vital to our creative economy, I think that we should encourage our
But I
young
think
people.
it's what creates people like that whose brains are scrambled. So there's a dark side to it as well.
I prefer my brains to be over medium when I can get them that way.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you. I forgot what the first part of the question was.
It was, what more can I have for free? I need it all. Give me something. I need some new shoes. Get out of here.
We're going to try to tend to your needs, but maybe not all
I'm
of
not.
your ones.
I don't want to help him.
He's against you. I'm ambivalent. I could go either way. Oh, he said I didn't do very well in the South. I have a new strategy for next time I'm running. And yes, surprise, surprise, I'm running. We're going to try to get Southern voters by sponsoring a NASCAR car, a Bernie Sanders NASCAR, and but it's not going to be corporate sponsored at all. It's going to be completely blank, and it's just going to make left turns. But we're going to stop to signal.
Wow.
Because we're going to obey all the traffic laws. So there will be a completely blank car, all white, ridiculously too white, and it is only going to be making signaled left turns around the NASCAR track.
That'll be quite a race.
Thank you. Was there one more quick question for Mr. Hamburger?
Somebody's saying...
I think right here in the front. Did you raise your hand, sir? Well, ask it for me, and then I'll throw it to him.
I'll throw in my 2 cents.
So, Senator Sanders, what was your reaction to concerns that the Democrats rigged the primaries against you in the 2016 election?
Okay, you want to pick this one?
Yeah, no, they didn't rig it against me. I didn't ask for any votes, and I didn't get any. So I feel that there's no truth to that.
You're a natural. They could have used you in Tammany Hall. Look, I think there was some vote rigging, but one of the things that I'm very bad at is standing up for myself. So that's the best that I'm going to tell you there. It was unfortunate that a lot of my supporters tried to vote for me, and they were like, ha ha ha, too bad you can't vote. But you have to come back and vote after your guy is out of the race. That sucks. That's too bad. But I guess I'm not good enough to stand up for what I believe in on that particular issue. Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you. And that's a real question, not like the other guy.
Well, like America, you get, there's a back and forth. There's
A lot of nuts.
There's a thesis and an antithesis, and there's a synthesis. Neil Hamburger, everybody. Thank you for
Thank you,
joining
Mr.
me.
Sanders.
You can stick around if you want, or you can leave. It's up to you.
Well, I have to do my own show, God damn it.
Neil Hamburger, he's upstairs after this. Thank you so much. Sisters and brothers, are you here? You good? You happy? Okay, that's an ambivalent response. Okay, all right, you're there. Let me say a few things. Barack Obama. What? Just that? I got to laugh on that. I can retire on that. It's better than anything Don Rickles got. I'm hearing that same voice from the back of the room, and I'm not sure if someone is objecting to what I'm saying or agreeing with what I'm saying, or if they're stuck behind one of the curtains. We will find out, and we will make sure you have the emergency care you need. By the way, I've been carrying this around with me. I've got a large stack of papers here. I just keep some press clippings, and I have a calendar of men who burn that I keep with me at all times, just to inspire myself about just how attractive some of the folks are that supported me. Look, I am straight, but I'm not narrow. Let's put it that way. It's a very attractive man. I would do whatever we wanted. I would do whatever. Jane's cool. Jane's cool. Jane, we know all about our former lovers and everything. Look, I've had a moment with the current and then governor of California, Jerry Brown. We went to a movie together. It was a screening of Star Wars, and we sat next to each other. There was some popcorn. What do you know? I don't want to be too crass about it, but we got down to the kernels in the popcorn bucket. So I'm no stranger to that. Also, if we're talking about my dating experience, I once dated Betty Boop when I was very young. Betty Boop taught me a lot sexually when I was a young man, and I needed to learn those things. And she taught me how to perform cunnilingus, and I learned to make sure that Betty Boop was satisfied. And the way you could tell that was an exclamation point would pop out of the top of my head. We had some fun times. So Barack Obama, I wanted to say, has been pegged by Netflix, and he is overseeing producing some stuff for Netflix, and I'm a little bit jealous about that. So I was hoping that I could have maybe some TV deals. I didn't want to do direct TV. I'm fundamentally, philosophically opposed to direct TV. I think there should be some socialist, bureaucratic entities in between the TV and the viewer. Amazon was out. Amazon was out from the beginning. Jeff Bezos, not a friend. Jeff Bezos put out of business my favorite bookstore, as I said before, PG Bookhouse. And I fondly remember that the cat in the bookstore used to sit on a stack of Ayn Rand books, and that was the best use those books had ever been to. Jeff Bezos put out those independent bookstores out of business, and so I'm not interested in Amazon Studios. I am looking into, and look, let's face it, you know, C-SPAN, they get a little bit racy. I'm not sure I want to develop a program at C-SPAN. So we are looking to develop a program at Amtrak Studios. Amtrak Studios, and maybe it'll play in the car while you're on the train, and it'll go out because the signal isn't strong enough. I like DC. Amtrak jokes work. Okay, so I'm ready for my second guest here. If you're ready, if you can handle it, sit down, buckle up. Good. Buckle up, change your diapers, wipe your ass. Our second guest is that's a terrible way to bring someone out. But look, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna make some wrong moves, and we're gonna move forward, just like me, or Karl Marx, or whatever you wanna say. Look, my next guest is a columnist for the Washington Post, a newspaper that hates me and despises me, but personally, she's been nothing but kind, and I want to ask her her opinions. She's an opinion writer, and so I want to welcome, please, a very, very talented writer, Alexandra Petron. How you doing?
Great.
So, Alexandra, you are an opinion writer. So what is your opinion?
That's a very existential question.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different things to have opinions about. You can have hot takes, regular takes, just...
Hot takes.
Hot takes.
I heard about this.
Yes.
I've logged onto Twitter twice, once to retrieve my password and once to log out. And I hear about this thing called a hot take. What is it? What is it? Like pancakes? It's like a stack of them? What is it? Maple syrup? What do you got?
It's mostly sort of a waffle, I would say.
Very good.
It emerges, and you take a bite of it, and you're like, I ate that, and I feel regret now.
An opinion that is considered regrettable or even toxic.
Yes.
That's a hot
It
take.
feels good going in, and then on the way out, you're like, what was this?
Sure.
Actually, I shouldn't slander waffles like that. Waffles are usually quite delicious. I take back my anti-waffle stance. I'm sure as a Vermonter, you have like a pro-waffle thing.
Well, I like maple, but I should say this. My diet normally consists of oatmeal and raw data. So don't assume anything. That vegan butter. I have vegan butter. It melts in your mouth and on the plate.
Does it try to claim that it's not butter? Is it like, I can't believe this is not butter, I'm certain this is not butter? Is it
Very
like,
convincing with that argument, yes.
it's like, I am definitely not butter, don't even think I'm butter.
What's the name of the guy, the model who did I Can't Believe It's Not Butter, the handsome man?
Oh, Fabio!
Fabio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had that tragic roller coaster accident.
I saw that, and that's when I outlawed having seagull sanctuaries next to theme parks in the state of Vermont. I was able to lean on the governor at the time, Howard Dean.
Well, that was very big of you, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was. Howard Dean is a real shitface, and I disagree. Howard Dean he's a real goat of a man. He's an ugly person, and I'm saying that, so that means something. Howard Dean looks like a Peter Bruegel painting if you zoomed in on one of the demons. But we worked together when we were in Vermont politics together.
Well, it's important to work together with Bruegel paintings.
Alexander, you write for the Washington Post. They've taken some harsh views on me. I believe there was one day in the campaign where they had, 500 negative stories about me in one calendar day?
Well, see, that's the trouble. The thing about the internet is it allows you to have almost infinite numbers of negative stories about anyone on any given day.
You're not limited by the printing
right,
press
the print
to a certain
press
number of pages.
Would limit you so you could have 10 on one page, and that would be sort of tops. And those would have to be printed very small, really not readable at all.
Well, the way I say things, I don't personally use the internet. I have it printed out every morning for me on a mimeograph. I have everything I need to read printed out on purple paper. In a mimeograph machine you might remember from elementary school or something like that. And so I don't personally, I read the internet and I say, that looks good, reply to it, and I go, that looks bad, make sure that we send some trolls and crazy people to harass that person.
I wondered what the mechanism was for sending the
I
trolls.
do it by hand, by pen. I give all my internet moves. Before 8 in the morning, I'm done with the internet.
Because usually I'll get I'll go to my voicemails and there will be people there and they will have strong opinions about things that they're expressing sort of from beyond the grave. And I'm always sort of like, how did this person get that information, given that it doesn't sound from their voice like they've interneted ever, but you call them.
I've done it very rarely. I've logged on to Pornhub just to see if there's any parodies that have me. And there are, and I'm happy to see that I've been portrayed as both the top and the bottom, because I believe in versatility for the American people. Let me ask you this. What do you think about the situation with Donald Trump?
Well...
What is your opinion on that?
Mostly my opinion is that it's bad.
I think that's
it's a hot take. One of those hot takes we heard about earlier, that it's bad.
That's a hot take, but it's good. That's a tasty take.
Yeah. Don't even need to put any syrup of any sort of that. No, the Donald Trump situation, I wish that it were in a snow globe so I could watch it happening instead of having to live in the snow globe where it is happening. That's sort of how I feel about it.
Right, and you're living in the snow globe when it's turned upside down and you go, hey, you can't
that's my
watch.
stuff. Oh no, there goes my little tiny house thing.
Why did you do that? And maybe the price could be lower.
Yeah, stop shaking. My stuff is all in here. Instead of being able to sort of observe it in there's that thing that I leave on the table and periodically I move it around because my papers are underneath it. I don't know, I have a rich universe in which my snow globe is taking part.
You're a snow globe fan?
Oh, yeah.
I don't need a snow globe, I live in Vermont.
Yeah,
you walk outside and you're like, this is fantastic. If I could, I would not buy this at the airport. Let me ask you, I think if amongst the frequent callers to the Howard Stern radio program, Donald Trump is probably the worst one who could have been president. Are you familiar with Howard Stern, and who would have you gone with besides Donald Trump?
Oh, man.
As president of the United States?
I think the guy who called Donald Trump from within the Howard Stern show, I think that guy, he could probably do
Jackie
a
the
good job.
Joke Man.
Yeah.
Jackie the Joke Man Mottling. I would even, Robin Quivers would make a fantastic president. I would maybe even say Baba Booey would have made a better chief executive of our country
Oh, man.
than Donald Trump. What a mess.
It sounds like a mess. I have to confess, I have not listened to Howard Stern personally, although I have read the Wikipedia page to learn that Baba Booey was a person and not just an exclamation, which I sort of thought.
That you do your research.
Yeah.
It's important that you do your research.
Yeah.
Well, look, I think I've edited that Wikipedia page. That's the only other website I've been to. Let me ask you this. The Supreme Court is looking bad. And I mean that as
I think Ruth looks very healthy.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I think she looks as fit as you can look.
I know. She's a vigorous opponent when we play racquetball together. There's some applause from the back of the room. That's good. But we're in a bad situation. Donald Trump has nominated Neil Gorsuch, and now this Kavanaugh guy. Yeah, Bowie, I know. Boo, let's... My concern is that Donald Trump, even if we stop this guy Kavanaugh, that they're just going to get worse and worse if he has to make more Supreme Court nominations. What's next?
Yeah,
the Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit?
Well, I think Roger Rabbit's from your shared universe, so I hope Judge Doom. But I don't know. I think my theory is, like, I'm just worried about Merrick Garland mostly, because he's off marching around with his, like, cloak on his back, going to where he hopes that someone will not have heard of the judiciary branch so that he can plant his oar and start anew there.
Right.
He's got his rusty sword, he's marching through the countryside, and none hears his cry, none but America.
That sounds poetic.
Yeah, it's very poetic because he's not being used on the Supreme Court because he's been betrayed.
Well, what can we look forward to? Who should be a justice if you had your pick?
Ooh, Merrick Garland.
Merrick Garland.
That would be that's my hot take.
Just to go straight back to Merrick Garland.
Go straight back to Merrick Garland, or Merrick Garland, but or you get something and you think maybe this is a refrigerator, that's something Donald Trump would put on the Supreme Court, but then you open it up and it's Merrick Garland inside. He's smuggled in, he's gotten there.
We could play a little, Donald Trump's such a big fan of the Russian nesting dolls. Maybe we can trick him
full matryoshka,
into nominating a large egg, and then it opens up, and the real Supreme Court nominee is inside one of the smaller nesting dolls.
No, you roll it up the steps. Yeah, Lady Gaga style. She perfected the delivery mechanism. We just need to emulate that.
Yeah, hey, look, you thought you were nominating Oliver North, but inside, boop, Nina Turner.
Yeah.
I like this.
He is hollow inside, so that would
I think so.
work.
You live in the district? Do you live in Virginia?
I live in the district.
You live in the district.
So my vote's sort of decorative.
You know how badly I did in the election in Fairfax County? I received -3% of the vote in Fairfax County, Virginia.
I'm sorry.
That's the way it works.
I think it's mostly like George Washington's ghost there, though, so don't feel too bad.
How do you feel? Now, you're in the news all day. You work in the news. Do you
Yep.
work in the Washington Post? Do they still have the loud typewriters? The last time I was over there was just the loud typewriters everywhere you went.
No, I barely go into the office anymore because the typewriters are so loud, it sort of...
That's what the
really-
news sounded
yeah.
like for most of my 100 years on Earth.
And sometimes you see Robert Redford walking down the hallway, and he's just like, spike it, get me the rewrite, sweetheart.
So it's still like that. Spike it. I need copy.
Yeah.
People barking at each other and going, hey, a woman in the newsroom? All right, I'll allow it. It's
Yeah. No, that was my favorite. When all the movies came out, they were like, the detail that everyone got the most right was how poorly journalists dress. And I'm like, yeah, they did get that right.
Look, I've been wearing the same suit that I've slept in for 12 years.
Yeah, the artfully rumpled look is what I prefer to call it.
This is the same suit I've been wearing since the Democrats took back the Congress when Bush was president in 2006. I've been meaning to order some new rumpled suits from JCPenney.
Yeah, it's like you get the jeans with the holes in them, but you get the suit and it's been sort of distressed beforehand.
I want to ask you this. There was some news, from very new news. That's the definition of news. There was some news about Vladimir Putin, and I'm not a fan because he's a billionaire, and I hate billionaires. No, it's 1 billion rubles, so there's that, but still. And I don't know if you know this, the top 1% of Russian oligarchs control 90% of the rubles.
I didn't know that fact.
Yeah, and the bottom 99%, the lumpen proletariat, controls almost 1%. That's some Russian jokes that are a little bit half-baked. Let me ask you this. Russia and Putin, there was a possibility of a deal, I think it's a very bad idea, where they wanted to take former Ambassador McFaul in exchange for some of the 12 Russians who would be queried by the investigation that Mueller was doing. Do you think it's a bad idea? And do you think there's anybody else we could send as a hostage besides McFaul?
Well, besides McFaul, I feel like Donald Trump has invited Vladimir Putin to come and hang out in Washington, and he could sort of go and just hang out in Moscow for an indefinite period of time, and just really, like, he could stay there, he could have a nice visit.
So this sounds almost like a Game of Thrones hostage swap situation.
Yeah, it's like, there goes Marcella, like, good luck, goodbye, and I will just be sitting here with my wildfire, I assume.
I don't know if I trust Vladimir Putin here in the district, and I mean, I would wonder how long it would take him to end up in the Potomac, but...
Well, the Potomac is what killed JFK. No, I'm kidding. That's what my crew instructor always used to say. It's like, don't fall in this water. That's how JFK died.
Well, I think the people that killed JFK live very close to here, right across the river, and it's you can go down there. I don't like to, but I've been there, and they did it, and that'll come out sooner or later. That's as far as I think that's my personal belief that I also never talk about. So, do you think who could we send? Do you think we could send Donald Trump and we exchange it for Putin? That would be a 0-0 trade.
Yeah, what they call zero-sum game in like politics, I believe. Marco Rubio is always talking about how like that's how Putin views the world. So
I never listened much to Marco Rubio. Was there any
You're
sense
not
to it, or
missing
was
much.
it just Miami money talking?
I don't think you missed much. I summarized it in those 3 words.
So Russia, no easy solution, but maybe if we come up with some comical solutions, we could try to get a laugh out of it.
Yeah.
All right, fine. Let's get another couple of questions. Is Juliet here? Juliet, my sweet. If I've missed Juliet, I might have to pull off the Romeo part of the play. There you are. Please give a round of applause to Juliet. She's going to help you get questions. I think I have overlooked the back of the room, and I can't necessarily see them. Can I trust you to ask someone? Be very nice to Juliet, please, if you're going to ask a question of her. And Juliet and also Alexandra.
Oh wow, there is an audience here. This is very exciting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was dark. It looked like we were just talking to the lights. Look, I think everything, even if I'm just by myself, it's streaming somewhere on C-SPAN, the Young Turks or whatever. So, what do you got back there?
Well, welcome from the back. I love your column. It's an honor to be yelled at by you.
You're talking to me or her about the column?
Do you have rows or do you have columns? I don't know.
Oh, there's a tough guy. There's a tough guy.
Pun.
So you're talking about Howard Stern and Donald Trump earlier. What do you think about Donald Trump's appearance on the Tom Leykis radio program, Senator Sanders?
All right, so this sounds like a guy. This sounds like a guy who's familiar with some arcane comedy references to a shock jock radio host from Drive Time Los Angeles Radio. I don't know how you got here to the District of Columbia, but I do think that Donald Trump is unfortunately the same sort of toxic audience that Tom Leykis would be into. Let me ask you it this way, Alexandra. There's a toxic masculinity, and you might see it in somebody like Tom Leykis, who I never like, or Donald Trump, or some of the people that fall into those categories. What can be done about men who hate women on the radio or in the White House in the Oval Office?
Oh man.
Or in the...
You should have asked me this question back when I had hope that we could fix this problem. No, I'm kidding. We can fix it. We can just raise people differently, or rear them differently. You're supposed to rear children and raise vegetables. So that may have been some of the confusion.
So we gotta get to them when they're young.
Yeah. You have to be like, hey, women are people, which may surprise you. And if you could just convince enough guys that women are people, then like I think we'll see great results.
And if a guy is already on the radio doing a hateful afternoon drive, women of this, women of that type show, you could probably just turn it off. Or if you see him, you could say, or even slap him in the cheek.
Yeah, no, you can say, not the red hen, not tonight, my friend. You know, just do the thing.
I like that. I like that very much. All right, one more question for Alexandra, if we can. Washington Post, politics of the day. I can't see it. I can't see it all. Is Juliet still here? I hear. Yes, I'm sorry. I hear a voice.
Mr. Sand, we have Mickey Mouse in the White House. Now we have Donald Duck. Is there any way that maybe Scooby-Doo will be the next president? Oh, thank you.
This is a very interesting question, and maybe I want to throw this to you. He's asking, since we have Donald Duck in the White House, if Scooby-Doo could be next, if I'm correctly paraphrasing this. What do you think? I think, if I might, and I love to pretend that I'm throwing the focus to a woman and then also take it back for myself. That's one of
I've noticed that in you.
One of my favorite things to do, and I'm working on it, but I'm also letting myself be as bad as I always was. Donald Duck is forced by Disney CEO Bob Iger to work without pants, to work without health insurance, and I think that's unfair. He has to work simultaneously worldwide in 5 different theme parks. You can understand his outbursts and his anger from time to time.
That's true, but he does have a giant pile of money, which, if you're pantsless, it's good to at least have a giant pile of money that you can bounce and float around
Oh
on.
yeah, Scrooge McDuck, his uncle, Scrooge McDuck. Are you
I assumed he was inheriting the McDuck family fortune. Has he been cut out of the lineage?
I am in favor of instituting in Duckburg very strict estate taxes.
Oh, estate tax, yeah.
Estate taxes in Duckburg. I think that but Scrooge McDuck controls over 4/5 of the wealth in Duckburg and St. Canard, if you're a Darkwing Duck fan. And I think the working class ducks, like Launchpad, deserve a bigger share of the pie.
Well, I think if Donald Duck is willing to forego his share in the Duck legacy, then surely, I mean, the Duck dynasty should end there.
Thank you. Yes, that's the Duck Dynasty. We can handle that kind of Duck Dynasty. Very good.
Although, I have to say, I saw their musical, and it was terrific. In Las Vegas, they had a brief, short-lived Duck Dynasty musical, and you missed it, but it was really something.
A Duck Dynasty musical.
Yes.
Do they just do the whistle back and forth?
They had an opening song about how he invented the duck call that went, think about the hunting man out there in his duck blind, face covered in grease paint, and then it went sort of on from there. But
you know, if I were writing it from scratch, and I have to talk to the Hamilton folks downstairs about this. If I were going to write a Duck Dynasty thing, I would have a beautiful Swan Lake type dance number, a Pas Doudou, if I believe correctly.
Yeah, Dream Ballet.
Yes, and I would have just 2 ducks romantically circling each other in the opening number, and then bam, bam, and then they're shot by the idiots from Duck Dynasty. And then the rest of the play is a meditation on the evils of gun ownership in this country. Would you get on board with that?
I'm very on board with that.
I'll take you to tickets
I'm excited
to
by
opening
your
night.
gun evolution.
Thank you for joining me, Alexander. You can stick around if you want to.
All right.
Please. By all means, make yourself comfortable. There's one more. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Oh, I've got 2 microphones now. Thank you, Alexandra Petri. This is almost too much power for an independent senator from Vermont. This is, I think that for far too long we've worked with just 1 microphone, and I think it's time to have a 2 or 3 microphone system in this country. I don't know where I wasn't. Where wasn't I? I think, all right, folks. I hope I'm not stressing you out here. Let's get rid of this dumb thing. How about that? There we go. Let's look forward to the midterm election. I am a professor emeritus at Burlington College, which you might know was famously run into the ground by my wife. I don't believe it's a scandal that's actionable in any way, but I'm just addressing the reality as I know it to be talked about. Look, so I can give you some advice for acing this midterm. as a professor emeritus of democratic socialism at Burlington, Vermont. Run to the left. And when you think you've run too far to the left, turn left. And then, when you just think there's nothing to the left of this, leap to your left as far as you can. That's how you win elections. I know there's a lot of centrists in the room and I hear them grumbling, but guess what? Crowley went down, ha 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 ha. We won Alexandria-Cortez. What a fantastic, I just love the idea of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think, thank you for correcting me both times. I think it's so fantastic to have a candidate and soon a congresswoman who has my ideas and yet none of the unfortunate aspects of my candidacy, the rosacea, none of the brittle bones, none of the circulation problems, and none of the clicky thing that happens with my thumb when I go to pick up a can of cream soda. There are some bright spots in our body politic. I wouldn't say 1,000 points of light because I'm opposed to the Bush family and the Carlyle group. But I would say that there are some very promising 40-watt bulbs that are strung together and they are only minimally flickering. AMLO recently was elected president of our neighboring country, Mexico. Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador. And I'm very flattered that people have referred to him as the Mexico's version of Bernie. I don't think that's fair to him. We are similar in some ways. I called him and offered some slogans, and he politely declined. I offered him the slogan, AMLO, AML, Obrador. And he said no, he didn't want that. It was a pun on the AMCO radio ads, if you remember. Tickle me AMLO, he didn't go for that. But he expressed interest. I gave him his slogan just to use if he does stump speeches around Mexico, if he needs this. I got one for him, and it is this. El primer 1% del pueblo tiene más dinero que el bajo 99% del todo país, y esto está muy mal. Thank you. Thank you. I was impressed with myself with that as well. Look, people say you're going to take on Donald Trump. Yes. I think, well, how is your candidacy going to be different, Bernie? Let me say this. First and foremost, I'm going to be older than I was 4 years ago. Specifically, 4 calendar years older than I was at the already comically advanced age that I was when I ran for president in 1876. But that doesn't hold you back. You still see the Rolling Stones. The oldest Rolling Stone, I'm only 5 years older than him. You still go see those assholes in concert. I get bigger crowds than the Rolling Stones. So look, I'm a 70-something-year-old man, and so you're gonna come see me, just like the Rolling Stones. If you need me, yes, I will play Let It Bleed. I'm talking about my hip, in my case, if I don't watch the steps on the way up and down from the stage. And my message to the billionaire class will be, we will never be your beast of burden, and yes, I'm talking about the American people. Look, if you haven't seen 2 old men fighting, that's the kind of election that's not good for a country, but it is fun to watch. 2 old bastards, one of them overweight, the other one a little bit shaky in the arms. Fighting over a fence. Normally, you see 2 old guys, they're fighting over a fence between their houses. We are fighting over a fence of much larger proportions and importance. Get ready. If it's Donald Trump versus Bernie Sanders, strap on your diaper. You're ready for a Donnybrook, I'll tell you, goddammit. That it's gonna be fun for at least me. And I promise you, I will give him a rigorous trouble. Also, I promise that as last time, I will always fly coach when I fly in an airplane. And if I am elected president, I will also fly economy class. I will make sure that Air Force One, for the first time, has economy class, and I will board in Zone 4 after anybody who is in a drum circle or anyone who has urgently needed patchouli for the White House. I have another guest, and I hope you're ready for him because I am, and I'm starting to get hungry, and the only thing I can eat because my doctor said is a grilled cheese sandwich. I hope, what, I lost you on the grilled cheese? Sorry. Vegan Impossible Burger, grilled cheese. Whoa, comes the one vegan. Look, I'm in favor of, look, I am wrong on this issue. I eat meat, but I caucus with the vegetarians and the vegans. Is that enough? Very good. Folks, I have one more guest, and I'm pleased as punch. I hope you're ready. Look, am I ready? I don't know. That tickled somebody in the back. Your next performer is going to be seen, and we're going to take some questions again after this, so stick around if you got a question. Our next performer joins us, part of the festival. I believe he is from Washington, D.C. originally, and who knows where he ends up now. Let's find out. He's at the festival this weekend. Please welcome Jamel Johnson. If you haven't met, that's Alex here. Jamel Johnson, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Bernie? Bernard, how you doing?
Well, I'm only getting older, but my ideas are catching up with me in their youth and vigor. It was a little bit too poetic, wasn't it? How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. Happy to be back in the city. Give a round of applause to yourselves, everybody in the crowd. You guys look great.
Yeah, are you from the district? Or you're from the region? You're from Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
It sounds like it. Sounds like a majority of them, and they sound like they're taking notes for intelligence agencies instead of enjoying the program in the moment. You're from D.C.
I am from Woodbridge, Virginia, by way of Arlington County.
Very important.
Little Northern Virginia, two-step.
I sometimes I go jogging down into Virginia. I follow the same route that George McClellan took. It's about 5 miles, and then you stop, and you just sit there, and then you go back. That's a McClellan joke. Thank you. That's somebody. So how you doing? You having a festival? Is this your first night here?
Yeah. Got in this morning.
You live in Los Angeles.
Yeah. I'm out there in the land of no parents.
The land of no parents. Well, for me, that is everywhere I go because I am from a time long ago. My parents, do you want to know how old my parents are?
Please let me know.
My father immigrated to this country on the same boat that Fievel from the American Tail took in the American Tail movies.
Damn, I love those dudes.
Yeah, and somewhere out there, the rest of the song. So Los Angeles, is it palm trees? Is it Randy Newman? Is it? Let's see what my references for Los Angeles are. Well, palm trees. Is it all palm trees and Philip Marlowe detective stories?
A little bit of those still running around.
You ever see Ava Gardner around there? Famous movie stars like Clark Gable.
Yeah, I think I saw her niece at Lassen's one time.
Lassen's?
Yeah, a nice little organic grocery store.
Organic delicatessen.
Yeah.
They have Russian dressing, but it's from the Ukraine region of Crimea that was again annexed to Russian dressing. So, let me ask you this. You vote in California or vote registered here?
You know what? I am registered in California.
You're registered in California?
Yeah.
I'm curious because I heard a rumor. Did you support me in the election last time? And this is a rude question you don't have to ask, or you can make up an answer to please me or the audience because I think we're on different sides.
Nah, you know what, Bernard? I think I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. I wasn't. I was down with Hillary, man. I was.
You were down with Hillary Clinton. That's fine. That's legitimate. I came around a little bit too late, but I was there too.
Yeah, I had to, man, because I liked everything you were saying, but everybody was just acting like they didn't like money anymore, and it was kind of making me mad.
And you like money?
I love money.
Okay. Well, I don't like money. Okay, somebody likes money in the back. Look, I don't disagree, and I'm happy to have this vigorous discussion. I don't disagree with someone like you, or someone like you in the invisible darkness of the exit sign. It doesn't bother me that you like money, because I understand that if you have money, that's more for us to tax.
That's fair, and I'll pay it. You know what I mean? I've been paying more than I should for muffins for years, so I don't give a shit. Like any tax, I'm down.
The muffin man Did you know the Muffin Man controls over 3/4 of a baker's dozen of the muffins in the tin?
Bro, had no idea.
That is about that's 3 1/4 muffins, I believe, if I'm doing the math correctly.
I'm gonna
And
trust you.
If you have never cut a muffin in fourths, then you have never gone through the heartache of having to cut straight through a blueberry just to have a modest breakfast.
Damn, that's a pretty sick and deep analogy, I'd say.
So you voted for Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry that we're hearing this. What do you think we should? Where do you think? Where do we go next? Do we give up? Do we move forward?
Nah, more tweets, man.
From me?
Everybody. We need 9 more tweets from everybody in this room, dog. Keep them pumping.
Well, I have a staff that listens to me muttering to myself in the bathroom, and they transcribe that, and that's my Twitter feed.
That's beautiful, man. I need a couple interns myself, man.
I'm very eloquent when I'm handling my junk.
Yeah. That's the best time.
You want an intern? No, you would pay your interns, of course.
Absolutely.
Okay, yes, that's good.
Does weed count as payment?
Look, I'm in favor of weed as payment. I think you're going to get in trouble with the Securities and Exchange Commission if you use it as a currency.
Fair enough.
They're currently working that out with cryptocurrencies. I'm in favor of it.
Okay.
I'm in favor of it, but I don't have the law there on my side, so don't take my legal advice.
What about Kohl's? Kohl's Cash.
Which one? Who?
Kohl's Cash. You know Kohl's?
Kohl's the store?
Yeah.
Well, if you give a gift card, I'm not opposed to it. Sure.
Okay.
What I could really use a little bit of is an ethical cryptocurrency. I think I want to start Burncoin. Would you be on board with it? Yeah.
It's like coins you could like buy fire with?
Well, that's another way to do it.
A little too literal? Okay.
I suppose if I tell someone on the telephone that I want Burncoin, they could get it catastrophically wrong and deliver me 50,000 Burncoins. That's a homonym and it's spelled differently, and then I'm on the hook with Smokey the Bear. I was thinking a cryptocurrency with my name, Burncoin, and it's completely transparent, and so it's utterly worthless. Everybody can see the value, and if a billionaire gets a hold of one, it turns immediately into mulch, a sustainable mulch.
Just a bag of wood chips.
Yeah,
okay.
wood chips.
Yeah, I can get
basically
with that.
wood chips as currency. Do you think you go there?
I'm kind of with it. I miss going to the playground. More wood chips. Let's get it.
Let me ask you something, and forgive me if I'm overstepping a boundary. Are you an African American?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can we do? I am comically white. I am as white. I am like a white guy who shows up in Sanford and Son and goes, "Hey, Mr. Sanford, I'm the antagonist for this episode. You gotta pay the money you owe." And then I don't look like a friend, but I'm trying to do the best I can. What can we do? I'm in Congress. I have it in.
Okay, I got 2 ideas. First, ungentrified Whole Foods.
That's good. So gentrification of Whole Foods, ungentrified.
Yeah, we need more ghetto Whole Foods. Whole Foods should be more ghetto. Yes.
Whole Foods for whole communities.
Absolutely.
I think so. We can regulate the price and the barriers to entry at Whole Foods. That's Jeff Bezos, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking some sort of, it's like an affirmative action thing, but like if you got braids, you know what I'm saying? Every employee should have sick braids. That's step 1. Step 2.
Every employee.
Yeah.
Even Caucasian Americans should have sick braids.
Yeah.
All right.
Get some Kylie Jenners in there, man. Fuck it. Do all that.
I tried to braid my hair, and that's what caused my catastrophic baldness. I tried to braid it with Jack Kerouac back in 1959.
Yeah, I remember that. I saw it with the twist. Used to have twists like RG3.
He pulled it off, and for me, it was a real boy. Oh boy, that was a catastrophe. Well, I looked like the Dharma bums.
Okay, next thing.
What's the next thing? You want me to come up with it?
No, I got it. The hood needs to know about good psychedelics.
Good psychedelics. Now,
yeah.
So you're talking about ayahuasca?
Yeah, I'm talking about like high level. Let's get some peyote over there.
Peyote.
You know what I'm saying? Fucking Dr. Robotnik level acid. I'm talking about Mario Kart, mushrooms, jumping out the gym, all that.
You know, one time I had DMT that was so strong. I was out of my mind for what felt like an entire 6-year Senate term. I was out of my mind, and when I came back down, I had the sudden realization, and they would have called me crazy if I hadn't seen it on dimethyltryptamine. I had the idea to run as a nonpartisan candidate for Congress in the state of Vermont. And what do you know? The DMT little elf demons, they took me there, and I won.
I got a feeling you weren't the first person to think that on DMT, but the most successful, clearly.
Thank you. Yes, I was inspired by Terrence McKenna. When I did DMT, Terrence McKenna showed up and said, hey, you should run for Congress and do it as a socialist. And so I did. And that was 1990, and here I am.
Nice. I don't know who that is, but it sounds like a guy I used to play on an AAU basketball team with.
Oh, his name was very close to that?
Yeah.
Terrence McKenna is almost like a cartoon character of someone who did too much drugs. And there's a lot of YouTube videos. He lives on in YouTube.
Okay.
Like an artificial intelligence.
Oh.
How do I know this? I don't know this. I'm cheating. Want to take some questions from the crowd?
Sure, yeah.
They're almost still into what I'm doing up here in the show, and I thank you
They're hanging
for
in there,
sticking
man.
around.
They're hanging around. Everybody here who's just here for Central Air, God bless you as well. You know what I'm saying?
There will always be more climate refugees, whether we're in the Kennedy Center or other performing areas. We're going to have to get used to shows like this. Juliet, may I? Let's ask for some more questions. I see a hand right behind Myrtle Beach guy. That's right. There.
A lot of good putt-putt down there.
Jamel, if you got a question for Jamel or myself or Alexandra, if there's a question.
Yeah, so this is for Bernie. I'm wondering if you ever hear from Sebastian Gorka, or if you have any messages from Sebastian
Again,
Gorka.
we are starting to hear from some deep-cut fans of arcane podcasts. And let me tell you something. People have demanded that I break the fourth wall almost as much as they have demanded that I bow to the two-party system. And as much as I despise the two-party system, equally I support the fourth wall. I voted for the fourth wall when President Franklin Roosevelt first introduced it as part of the WPA. And I think it is an essential structure of our New Deal fabric that must never be repealed. The fourth wall is important. Now, I will say this, in character as myself, I will say this. Sebastian Gorka is a James Bond villain. Sebastian Gorka is the son of Moonraker. He is the Dragon of Budapest, and all you need to do is read the book, Moonraker, to know what he's trying to do. He's trying to send a missile straight up, and it comes straight back down. It's in the book, Moonraker. Stop him before it's too late. He's got a sidekick that has got a guy named Jaws, and he can bite through wires. And if the deep state is listening, get James Bond to stop Sebastian Gorka. It's very simple. He's Hugo Drax. So thank you for that question. I'm sorry that you tried to derail what my intention was here. Our infrastructure for our rail system is too strong. Let's get one or two more questions, please. Yes, is there a question back there?
See a guy here, we got a guy there.
Bernie, your position on prostitution, for or against?
My position on prostitution is at a healthy distance where I can support and yet also not be accused. I have never paid a prostitute. I have been offered large sums of money to allow people who really supported my positions to perform fellatio on me. I demur when people have offered me that. Not because I'm not interested in a blowjob, because I don't like taking money. That's why. But I think it's I think people should be able to have careers as sex workers, and they should have adequate health care, but I think also they should certainly not be coerced in any way at all. I think that would help you. Do you have any answer? What do you think about sex work or prostitution? Not to put you on the spot, if it's a difficult question to answer.
Honestly,
we're on stage, so anything we say is officially theater and you can't issue any subpoenas or indictments based on because we are characters on stage. This could all be lies. What's your answer?
I'm pro-hose.
Pro-hose.
Pro-hose, top to bottom.
Top to bottom. Okay,
Yeah.
so fantastic. Is that a sex act?
Well...
The top to the bottom?
It's a term. Well, that is, I guess, technically a little broad for a sex term, but...
Sure, top
Yeah.
to bottom.
Yeah.
It's thorough.
Yeah.
It's thorough.
Floor to ceiling.
You get through all 50,000 pages of the omnibus budget bill. Let's put it that way.
You get it, yeah.
You know, I've thought about releasing a dance single called Omnibus Baby. But I cannot twerk any more than I can have someone, you know, well, I'm married, so let's put it that way. Look, it's a tough question to answer, and I hope that I have danced around it and disappointed all of you. Is there a question from that side of the room over there? I see one right here. Yes, sir. I think it's you. I don't know. It's okay. It's not, but go ahead. I'm so sorry, sir. I will be available after the program. We'll get to you in just a moment. Yes.
As someone that's probably anti-Bezos, as a former DC resident, and as someone that's now paid by Bezos, what do you think about Amazon locating their new HQ somewhere near the district?
What do you think? Is that for me? Is that for Jamal? Well, Jeff Bezos is going to put an Amazon district here. I think it's dangerous. I think people say Vladimir Putin is a foreign military power trying to influence our country. Jeff Bezos is fantastically more wealthy than Vladimir Putin. They say, oh, he doesn't have an air force. That's not true. He's got a delivery army of drones that could potentially deliver weapon systems, and if you have Prime, they could do it very quickly. I think we have to look out for Jeff Bezos as a foreign intelligence threat. What do you think? Jeff Bezos, Amazon, are you a member?
I'm anti-Amazon. I'm pro the price they have on RX bars. I like those Maple RX bars. But fuck them otherwise. Honestly, dude, you could get anything you want from the thrift store. Goodwill is still cracking. You can get digital antennas, man.
Yes.
Amazon can eat my shorts. That's what I say.
Yes, Amazon can't eat your shorts, and that would be healthy for them, because then they would at least have some organic place in the food chain. I think that Amazon should go out of business, and the Amazon jungle should go back in business. How about that? Is that worth it? Is that a fun little turn? I want you. I said I was pointing to you, and I feel like I let you down. So what is your question?
You'll never let me down.
Okay, thank you. We've got
What do you think of the rumor?
Go ahead.
What do you think of the rumor that your cousin, presidential spokesperson Sarah Sanders, is a closet socialist?
This is an allegation I would like to dispute on the stage. The idea that I'm cousins, kissing or otherwise, with Sarah Huckabee Sanders. What are you going to say next? Oh, Colonel Sanders. Oh, I've heard it all. I've heard it all. Look, I am not related directly to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You're gonna ask what? Michael Huckabee? What's his name?
I just wanted to know whether the rumor.
There are no follow-up questions. I don't know why you're following up with a question.
That she's a closet socialist.
Well, it's none of my business what people do in the privacy of their own closet, whether it's a sexual act or a political act of defiance against capitalism. I will say this. If she is a closet socialist, her public-facing praxis is very problematic, so we better be about to see a hell of a Darth Vader turn at the end of Return of the Jedi. I think we have time for, there's a couple more, but maybe just a couple more. I see a hand right there. No, is it? I don't want any more Myrtle Beach, guys. I'm sorry, guys. I did so badly in South Carolina, I'm skipping over you from now on. Just pick somebody, if you will, Juliet. You're being very, very good at this. I appreciate your help. Somebody in the back. How much time do I have?
Hello.
Done? Thank you. I didn't see you before. Okay.
How can we, as wild women independently living with disabilities, have greater access to public places in Washington, D.C.? About a third of Washington, D.C. is inaccessible, or is accessible to people with disabilities, people like me. And so places we perform stand-up comedy are completely inaccessible.
And
I'm trying to pursue, invoking my right to the pursuit of happiness, and I'm having a lot of very difficult time.
I thank you for that question, and I hope that you are not expecting a humane and helpful and literal answer at this venue. I am not myself. Let me put it that way. I am not. However, I am a firm believer in and a supporter of the rights and access and meeting the needs of disabled Americans. I think that a disability is a physical problem and not one that should affect our country. I believe that if 1/3 of this city is inaccessible or unaccessible, I'm not sure of that grammar. I know the Declaration of Independence gets some word like that wrong, inalienable, unalienable, it's unaccessible, it's inaccessible, whatever it is, it's unacceptable or unacceptable. If 1/3 of this city is inaccessible or unacceptable, that means that 2/3 of the city is, and so that's a majority, and it's technically a supermajority, but it is not enough. You have to, the steps should be accessible to everyone who's a member of this country. And I will fight as hard as I can as a able-bodied person to do that. I will fight with every fiber of my body to do that for you. And I ask that you not give up hope, this generation or future generations. We are doing everything we can, and please hold us accountable because we are not perfect. And I hope that answered your question. I apologize if it did not. We are going to break up into small groups after the show. And if that wasn't satisfactory, I will be happy to answer in any way that we can. So let's have, I think, one more question. We got to get out of here. So one more final question if they can. Not Myrtle Beach. Anybody? Yeah, right there. Shout it out. Yeah, I see you. I don't know if there's a microphone. Shout it out for me.
I got the mic, okay. There's a lot of controversies in our country right now. There's a lot of bad things happening, and I just wanted you guys to kind of...
Okay, my answer to this is a little bit slow for the end of the show.
Apologies.
My answer so far is no shit. What is your question?
My question to you guys is, how do you feel about the controversy of the tragic firing of Papa John from the Papa John's company?
You mind if I take this?
I don't mind at all. In fact, I was hoping you would.
Let me get this. Straight up, sir, Papa John's has been ass since Domino's dropped the garlic crust. Once they dropped that garlic crust, Papa John was dead to me. He was never my dad. He can kiss my ass. That's what I say to that.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Folks, thank you for joining us here. I want to thank all of my guests, Jamel Johnson. I want to thank Neil Hamburger. And of course, I want to thank Alexandra Petri. Do I have time to do the song or I got to get off stage? Time to go? Okay, oh, they want to sing? All right. I have a song that represents some ideas that are very near and dear to my heart. It's an old protest song. We can sing together and join hands, or you can listen, whatever you want. If you're ready, let's hit it. I don't agree with all the lyrics, but let's go. Killing in the name of... Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Now you do what they told you. And 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 now you do what they told you. Those are justified for wearing the badge. They're the chosen whites. The justified, those that died. They're wearing the badge. They're the chosen whites. The justified, those that died for wearing the badge of the chosen whites. All right, folks, thank you so much for having the show. Thank you so much. All right, folks, thank you.